Act 3, A Midsummer Night's Dream. In Scene 1 of Act 3, the mechanicals meet at night to rehearse their play. Since they will be performing in front of a number of nobles, Bottom declares that certain events within the play should be changed. He believes that Pyramus' suicide and the lion's roaring would frighten the ladies in the audience and would lead the actors to their executions. The other men share Bottom's concerns because, one, they do not want to be killed. Therefore, Bottom comes up with a great idea. In lines 16 to 22, Bottom states,
Masters, you ought to consider with yourself to bring in God shielders. A lion among ladies is a most dreadful thing. For there is not a more fearful wildfowl than your lion living, and we ought to look to it.
Therefore, another prologue must tell he is not a lion.
Nay, you must name his name, and half his face must be seen through the lion's neck, and he himself must speak through, saying thus, or to the same defect, ladies, or fair ladies, I would wish you,
Or I would request you,
or I would entreat you not to fear, not to tremble, my life for yours. If you think I come hither as a lion, it were pity of my life. No, I am no such thing. I am a man as other men are. And there indeed, let him name his name, and tell them plainly he is,
Snug the Joiner.
Snug the Joiner.
Well, it shall be so. But there is two hard things. That is, to bring the moonlight into a chamber. For you know Pyramus and Thisbe meet by moonlight.
Doth the moon shine the night we play our play?
A calendar. A calendar. Look in the almanac. Find out moonshine. Find out moonshine.
Yes, it...
Now, in these lines, Bottom would like to add a prologue to the play that simply explains that the lion is not really a lion, nor the sword really a sword, in order to assure the ladies that no one will really die. However, the readers, we know that both Pyramus and Thisbe die in the actual play. They also decide to tell the audience that the play takes place at night and that Pyramus and Thisbe are separated by a wall. Therefore, one man must play a wall and another the moonlight. As the mechanicals begin to rehearse, Robin Goodfellow enters, invisible to those on stage. When Bottom steps aside, temporarily out of view of the other tradesmen, Robin transforms Bottom's head into one of a donkey's. When the donkey-headed Bottom re-enters the scene, the other men become terrified and run for their lives. But what else happens during the scene? Who awakes during the scene? The screams of the tradesmen wake Queen Titania. And who is Queen Titania? She's Queen of the Fairies. And who is she married to? King Oberon, who's also King of the Fairies. And why is she significant to this play? Maybe because she has this little thing called a changeling boy that Oberon just happens to want. And Oberon plans to do a really dirty trick on her, which probably requires the use of the flower's nectar that also causes people to fall in love with the first thing that they see when they wake. This could be problematic. Now let's take a look at lines 141 through 165. The conversation between Bottom and Titania is quite interesting. Titania states,
Finch the sparrow and the lark, the plain song cuckoo grey, whose note full many a man doth mark, and dares not answer nay. For indeed, who would set his wit to so foolish a bird? Who would give the bird a lie, though he cry cuckoo never so?
I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again. Mine ear is much enamored of thy note, so is mine eye enthralled to thy shape. And thy fair virtues force perforce doth move me on the first view to say, to swear, I love thee.
Methinks, mistress, you should have little reason for that. And yet, to say the truth, reason and love keep little company together nowadays. The more the pity that some honest neighbors will not make them friends. Nay, I can gleek upon occasion.
Thou art as wise as thou art beautiful.
Not so neither. But if I had wit enough to get out of this wood, I have enough to serve mine own turn.
Out of this wood do not desire to go. Thou shalt remain here, whether thou wilt or no. I am a spirit of no common rate. The summer still doth tend upon my estate, and I do love thee. Therefore, go with me. I'll give thee fairies to attend on thee, and they shall fetch thee jewels from the deep, and sing while thou on pressed flowers dost sleep, and I will purge thy mortal grossness so that thou shalt like an airy spirit go. Peas blossom, cobweb, moth, and mustard seed.
Ready?
And I.
And I.
And I.
Where shall we go?
Where shall we go?
Where shall we go?
Be kind and courteous to this gentleman. Hop in his walks and gambol in his eyes. Feed him with apricocks and dewberries, with purple grapes, green figs, and mulberries. The honey bag steal from the humble bees, and for night tapers crop their waxen thighs, and light them at the fiery glowworm's eyes. To have my love to bed, and to arise, and pluck the wings from painted butterflies, to fan the moonbeams from his sleeping eyes. Nod to him, elves, and do him courtesies.
In these lines, Titania praises Bottom's voice and admires Bottom's mind and body, even though she just met him. Now, isn't that something? I guess that nectar from the flower does really work. She insists that Bottom remains with her. She gives fairies to attend on him. Bottom loves the attention and embraces this new opportunity, but he still has no idea that his head has been replaced with that of a donkey's. Act 3, Scene 2. In another part of the woods, Robin tells Oberon about the predicament involving Titania and Bottom.
About this haunted grove.
My mistress, with a monster, is in love. Near to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals that work for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus' nuptial day. The shallowest thick skin of that barren sort, who Pyramus presented in their sport, forsook his scene and entered in a break. When I did him at this advantage take, an ass's knoll I fixed on his head. Anon his Thisbe must be answered, and forth my mimic comes, when they him spy. As wild geese that the creeping fowler eye, or russet-pated choughs many in sort, rising and cawing at the gun's report, sever themselves and madly sweep the sky, so at his sight away his fellows fly. And at our stamp he o'er and o'er one falls, he murder cries, and help from Athens calls. Their sense thus weak, lost with their fears thus strong, made senseless things begin to do them wrong. For briars and thorns at their apparel snatch, some sleeves, some hats, from yielders all things catch. I led them on in this distracted fear, and left sweet Pyramus translated there. When in that moment, so it came to pass, Titania waked, and straightway loved an ass.
This falls out better than I could devise. But hast thou yet latched the Athenians' eyes with the love juice, as I did bid thee do?
I took him sleeping, that is finished too, and the Athenian woman by his side, that when he waked, of force she must be eyed.
Stand close, this is the same Athenian.
This is the woman, but not this the man.
In these lines, Robin tells Oberon that Titania has fallen madly in love with the donkey-headed Bottom, and that he successfully applied the nectar to the young Athenian's eyes. Oberon is delighted that his plan is working as he expected it to. But then again, it didn't. Demetrius and Hermia are now on stage along with the invisible Oberon and Robin. Hermia is asking Demetrius where Lysander has gone, but the bitter Demetrius doesn't know where his future wife's lover is, and he really doesn't care. When Robin sees the woman he saw earlier with a different man from the one he enchanted, he realizes that he has made a huge mistake. Oberon then decides that him and Robin must fix this situation. When Hermia leaves to go find Lysander, Oberon sends Robin to go find Helena while he anoints the flower nectar onto Demetrius' eyes. Puck then comes back instantly saying that Helena is behind him with the enchanted Lysander. Still believing that Lysander is mocking her, Helena remains annoyed and angry. The noise of their bickering wakes Demetrius, who sees Helena and instantly falls in love with her. Well, now, both Lysander and Demetrius love Helena. Now, this love triangle thing is getting very confusing. Now, let's take a few steps back. At the very beginning of the play, Demetrius and Lysander loved Hermia, and no one loved Helena. But now that both of the men have been enchanted, they both love Helena. So who loves Hermia now? You guessed it, no one. Realizing that they both love Helena, Demetrius and Lysander try to prove their love to her, but they don't do a great job at that. Now let's look at lines 162 to 173.
Goddess, nymph, perfect, divine, to what, my love, shall I compare thine eyne? Crystal is muddy. Oh, how ripe in show thy lips, those kissing cherries tempting grow. That pure, congealed, white, high tourist snow, fanned with the eastern wind, turns to a crow when thou hold'st up thy hand. Oh, let me kiss this princess of pure white, this seal of bliss.
No! White! Oh, hell! I see you all are bent to set against me for your merriment.
Well,
if you were civil and knew courtesy, you would not do me thus much injury. Can you not hate me, as I know you do, but you must join in souls to mock me too? If you were men, as men you are in show, you would not use a gentle lady so, to vow and swear and superpraise my parts, when I am sure you hate me with your hearts. You both are rivals and love Hermia, and now both rivals to mock Helena? A trim exploit, a manly enterprise to conjure tears up in a poor maid's eyes with your derision. None of noble sort would so offend a virgin, and extort a poor soul's patience, all to make you sport.
you are unkind, Demetrius. Be not so. For you love Hermia. This you know I know. And here with all goodwill, with all my heart, in Hermia's love I yield you up my part, and yours of Helena to me bequeath, whom I do love and will do till my death.
Never did mockers waste more idle breath.
Lysander, keep thy Hermia, I will none. If e'er I loved her, all that love is gone, my heart to her but as guest-wise sojourned. And now to Helen, is it home returned there to remain? Helen, it is not so. But disparage not the faith thou dost not know, lest to thy peril thou abide it dear. Look where thy love comes. Yonder is thy dear.
Despite their love for her, Helena still believes that they are mocking her. Now Hermia has re-entered. When she overhears Lysander and Demetrius professing their love for Helena, she is shocked and appalled. Based on Hermia's reaction, Helena thinks that she is mocking her as well. Helena gets so frustrated that she begins to argue with Hermia. The two women's argument is quite funny. Since Lysander is denying Hermia's love for her, Hermia blames Helena for this unfortunate event. Hermia suspects that Helena has somehow stolen Lysander's heart by using her height to lure him away from her. Hermia grows furious with Helena. She even calls her a juggler and a canker blossom. And if we go back to our Shakespeare insult handout, we will find out that juggler means trickster and deceiver, and a canker blossom is a grub that destroys the blossom of love. Therefore, Hermia claims that Helena, which is her best friend, is a trickster and a deceiver and a person who pretty much wants to destroy Lysander and her relationship. Hermia doesn't like Helena, so she begins to threaten her now. But Demetrius and Lysander, who are now in love with Helena, vow to protect Helena from Hermia. But they quickly become angry with one another and storm off into the forest to have a duel. After hearing that the men are going off to fight, Oberon sends Robin to prevent Lysander and Demetrius from fighting. Robin flies through the forest and creates a fog that prevents the two men from seeing each other. While flying, he impersonates both men by hurling insults at each of them. This action confuses the two men, and they fall asleep. Meanwhile, Helena runs away from Hermia and falls asleep, and Hermia falls asleep as well. While the couples are asleep, Robin anoints Lysander's eyes with the flower's nectar.